Okay, so on to task 3, and it says summarise the day's orders. Extend task 2 to provide an end of day summary showing the number of orders made, the total number of each component sold, and the value of the orders. So in order to get the number of orders made, we actually need to be storing more than one order, and we haven't actually looped at all yet in this code. We actually need to go back to our code and let the user enter more than one order. Basically, all we need to do is we need to select everything, and it's quite long, remember, there's a lot of code here. Select everything apart from the import date time, might add, and the stock levels. So actually, it's not everything. I'm not actually doing everything. The estimate number, what we need to do is we need to select everything from where it says all in stock. And actually, thinking about it, our total price will also need to be in there as well. So I'm just going to move total price down there and get rid of that. Our estimate number is going to stay outside the loop because that mustn't change after we've reset it once. So where we've got total price all in stock, we're going to select absolutely everything in our code right down to the bottom. There's a lot of code there now. And we're just going to press the tab key once, like that. So I've pressed the tab key once. That will indent all the code from that total price just once. And I'm going to create a variable called loop and set it to true. While loop is equal to true, we're going to loop around, and then we're going to get the user to input whether or not they want to add an order. So we're going to create a variable called user interface or UI, and we're going to say input, do you wish to place an order? And if they do, so if UI is equal to yes, actually if UI is equal to no, then what we're going to do is we're going to quit out. So we can say loop is equal to false and break, like that. Then what we're going to do, we can say else. So they don't want to, actually no, we don't need to have an else. We can just leave the rest of it like that. Okay, good. So that will let us loop around and add more than one order. So what do we need to do next? We need to summarize the day's orders. So we need to show the number of orders made. So that's quite easy, because actually what we need to do is we need to create an array that's going to store all our orders. And we didn't do that in task 2, but we have got everything all sort of ready. So what we're going to do is up here is where we create our order, or where we set our estimate number, I'm going to create an array called orders. And it's going to be blank. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add to that basically where we create our order. I'm going to go down here where we create our order here. That's where we create our order. It's a string, remember. I'm going to add that to the orders array. So that will then add every order that they make in the shop onto an array of orders, and I'm just going to print that out actually. Orders array, orders, like that. It's not going to be very neat. This is more debug than anything else. So then if we want to get all the orders you know, as sort of an output, what we can do is we can well, what we could do is we can do two things. We can be when they enter to see whether or not they want to place an order. If it's no, then obviously they're going to quit out. We could actually get the details there, or we could sort of enter a menu item. So it's kind of up to you what to do. There's no specific way that they say you should do this. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to add it here. When we quit out, I'm going to print out all of the orders, so the number of orders today, and that's going to be the length of the orders array, like that. Okay, So that's going to tell us how many orders there were. What else do we need to find out? We need to find out the number of orders made, the total number of each component sold, and the value of the orders. So the total value of the orders, so that's again quite easy to do. We need to just keep that as another variable. So the total orders is going to be set to 0 to start with, and then we're going to add that on. Every time they place an order, we're going to add that on down here. So we've appended it to the orders array. So we can say our total orders equals total orders plus the cost of the total price plus tax. There we go. Total price plus tax, and that'll get added on every time an order's made, and then all we have to do is print that out at the end. So we're kind of reusing bits that we've already done. So let's print that out. Total amount of orders, and there we go. Great. So the last thing is we need to print out how many components were sold, or which components were sold. So we're going to have to create some more variables for that. And again, up here, if we need to keep a log of how many components are sold, we need to store how many were sold. So I'm going to add it up here. Yeah, I'm going to add it up here, and I'm going to add P3 sold and set it to be 0. P5 sold, set it to 0, P7 sold, and set it to 0. And then the same with the RAM. RAM 16 sold. Everything's going to be set to 0 because it's going to be reset at the start of the program. Obviously, if this was a real life system, we'd have some kind of database to store this data, but that is not in the spec for the GCSE. And screen. Okay, so we're going to update those values, all those variables that we've just created. Every time we sell an item, when we've checked to see if the price, if we've sold everything, down here when we create and we update our stock levels, we're actually going to also increase what we've sold. So we've got P3 sold equals P3 sold plus 1. So we're taking one stock away and we're saying we've sold one item as well. P5 sold equals P5 sold plus 1, or P7 sold it should be P7, there we go. P7 sold equals P7 sold plus 1. And for the RAM, and the RAM was called RAM 16 sold. We're going to add one on. Then the storage. And finally, USB. USB 2 sold equals USB sold plus 1. Last one here. So that's going to update all the stock levels. We just need to print those out. So it's sold, sorry. So that's sold equals USB for sold plus 1. Okay, so that looks okay to me. I don't think there's any errors in there. Oh, there is one there. That there's an error on the screen 23. Let's just check everything else. I think that's okay. I'm going to no, I've got some errors there. Look, I've got some stock here. So this one here, these need to be sold, and this one needs to be sold as well. It's very easy to make mistakes in this at the moment. Okay, so that stock, that one should be sold as well. Good. So there were some, yeah, no, that's all fine and good. That all looks okay. So we've updated the stock levels, we've updated how many we've sold. Now we need to print those out, and we'll print those out when we quit out. So we'll do that here. So we'll just print out all of those items. So what should we print out? We'll print out, just trying to think which way to do this. We'll print out processors sold. And we'll do this all as one long string, otherwise I think it's going to get a bit too painful. So we'll say P3, and then P3 sold, and then P5, P5 sold, and then P7, P7 sold, like that. And print out, oh, selected the wrong one there, there we go. So then it will be RAM sold, and it will be 16, and RAM 16 sold. Just check the name of that, it's all capital letters. So that's going to be RAM 16 sold, and then the last one there, it's going to be 32. And we'll just paste that again for the storage. And it's going to be 1 TB, two TB, and the screen, and the screens are 19 or 23. And then it's the case and then the USB. And the USBs. Okay, so that looks okay. I'm going to test this offline and check that that's okay and let you know if there's any errors. I have got an error further down. I've got USB error further down here. It's the number of USBs sold. I've forgotten to put which one have I done? Hold on. It's on the USB 2 sold. I've missed out a 2 on that one, so I'm just going to run that, and that looks okay. And let's run that again. So let's run that. I'll just pause again. Worked. That's all worked okay. I've just added one order, but it's fine. It's worked there, and it's printed out everything that's sold. You can change that, obviously. You know, the way that that's printed out is pretty sort of rough. You know, it can be printed out in a much more neat way with using tabs, etc. But we don't have to do that today. You can feel free to obviously improve this code in any way you want to. But otherwise, that should be everything. Have we done everything? We have provided an end of day summary with the number of orders made, the total number of each component sold, and the value of the orders, which is everything, I think. So yeah, so we've got the amount of orders, number of orders. Yeah, good. So that's everything done.